I fly my tiny whoops with BT 2.0 because these batteries and connectors are just better, but I recently noticed that the SpeedyBee adapter uses PT plugs and I don't have that, so I had to make an adapter, and here's how that went. I didn't do any research if it would work, but I don't see no reason why, because this one's plus and minus and the other one's also plus and minus. You know, why shouldn't it work? They're for the same batteries essentially. Yeah, and I will just do that real quick, I think. I will just have to look what's plus and what's minus. Okay, so this plugs into the adapter, and then we will have to essentially just solder these two things together and it should work fine. Yeah, that was the really simple plan, and there's no way you could mess this up, right? Right? Yeah, anyway, I got started. Let's heat up the soldering iron. Okay, so the solder is heating up. Now I just need some wire cutters. Brilliant. Now, how much cable do we need? I want as little cable as possible, really. But maybe I should just loosen these cables out of the plug and then stick these cables in there. That would probably be a good idea, because that way it's as short as possible. This was, in fact, not a good idea. The plastic just kept on melting and I couldn't figure out how to solder it. And yeah, I ended up switching to another method. This tip isn't ideal, but it will work, I hope. Okay, I think it's just melting the plastic. Just get some flux paste on there. Just a bit of flux paste. Yep. And some solder on the iron to have a bit more surface area. Okay. I don't think this is a good idea. I'm just going to cut down the cables and then we will go from that. So let me cut. Very nice. I haven't actually got something to isolate the wires, but this thing will work. There's a slight smell of burnt plastic in here now. Very nice. Yeah, and I started the solder process, which went pretty smoothly. As you can see, I just attached the solder and that was it. And we could move on to the next steps. Second one. Nice. So these ends are soldered up. Oh, it's very hot. Whew. Okay. Now, I've got some of these things here. These are some shrink tubes. Then I'm just going to go with the smallest ones. I will just need one. I'm going to cut it. Actually, I will need a bigger one. So, just want to make sure they fit over both of these. Yeah, this one's fine. Now, how much cable? I think like that should be good enough. So let's isolate the wires. Tuck. Shortened. And now, can I just half the length of the shrink tube? I sure can. It's going to work, I think. The other one's a bit shorter anyways. Now let's get off the ends of these wires. Oh, this is a lot of exposed wire. Anyways, okay. These ones have to get some solder on them too. After getting some solder on the wires, I put on the shrink tubes, and it was very close to the edge, but thought it was fine. So I started soldering the two wires together, and I noticed that the shrink tubes shrank down from the heat of the joints, so that was a problem. These shrink tubes are fucked. They shrunk down because they were too close to the soldering point. I may just get rid of them and put on one larger shrink tube. Yeah, this one, for example. You can just leave them on actually, but that wouldn't be very clean. So I'm going to try to get rid of them. I got rid of the shrink tubes successfully, and I then tried to put over the bigger shrink tube, and that worked fine too. So then I tried to plug it in just to test it out, and that was when I realized something. I just realized something. This here is the wrong side. Yeah, as my past genius correctly said, it was the wrong side of the cable, and I had to do it all again. And I'm going to skip over this part, and we're just going to go straight to the finished product and the first test of my adapter. Okay, so there's actually one more thing to do, and that's to see if it really works or if I will fry my adapter. So I'm fairly confident it will work, but let's try. Okay, it worked. It didn't fry anything. So, you know, that's a success in my books. Was it really a success? Yeah, I'm not sure. This project is 3 months ago by now, I think, and I ended up never using the adapter until yet. So yeah, it was maybe for nothing, and the batteries kind of suck for the adapter anyways. So yeah, it also isn't very pretty, but it was nice to have done it, and I guess I got a very boring video out of that. So yeah, thank you for watching, and if you made it this far, you may as well subscribe if you enjoy this content, and any likes or comments would also be appreciated. Thank you.